But I think the most impressive part, and probably the part that you're leaning into, is her consistency. Aryna Sabalenka, doesn't matter the time of year. It does not matter the surface. She is there last 2 days of the tournament. A bad tournament for her is a semifinal loss. Like, and that's wild on the women's side. That is wild.
Especially in today's era and post Serena. And that's why I wanted to say what I said, because it doesn't happen that often. Now, with that said, let me tell you who else is pretty consistent, not to the same degree, is Jessica Pegula.
Yeah.
I happen to know some people in JPEG's camp. I grew up with, I used to live with one of her old coaches, and shout out to her main man, Adam Gusky and Ansley Cargill, were some early coaches for Jessica in some of her early years. I'm going to tell you, Alvin, and I want to say this about Jessica Pegula, and I wrote some things down. I wanted to share this with you and get your thoughts on this. I said, and I thought this was pretty solid. I said, Jessica's personality and demeanor, her game and tactics, her confidence and experience are much needed by the women's tour. If you can go 3 or be on enough to take her down, you have truly earned a result and passed a litmus test of the highest level of women's tennis. Many players have slipped into the top 50, facing various players at odd points. Waning older players at the sunset of their career. Solid players on their least favorite surface, or after a great week the week before. Or beating the player who beat the player the round before. Not their fault, but they weren't truly tested, nor did they reach a level. So it's understandable when their results are all over the place. Jessica provides a standard of play that is both difficult to beat and rarely has a truly off day. So, a solid performance against her is something of merit. I say that to you to say, and I submit to you, especially in her final run this year, and she's done it, Alvin, for over 10 years. Not quite the body of work of Grand Slam wins as Aryna Sabalenka, but you'd be hard pressed to find a person who's had the consistency and the body of work of Jessica Pegula. And I say that to you to say, especially in wake of her taking down Ayala and a few other players in this tournament, a resurgent Raducanu. I'm telling you, Alvin, she is setting the bar for you have to be this good to be a top 5 or better player. And there are many players in that top 5, and I don't want to say anything negative about the others to compare her, but you know they are, who've not had that consistency year in, year out. And now we're talking post-surgeries. We're talking post, some big results, bad results. We're talking about myriad of things. JPEG just continues to get it done. And so I wanted to really put a shout out to Jessica and Aryna both. My personal feelings aside, I love Jessica in general. I just feel like she has done the tour a favor by being so good and consistent that she has helped players that have beat her reach a level that when you beat her, you're like, that was hard. And now I know what it takes. So I feel like Ayala is going to be the better for losing to her. I feel like Raducanu feels like I went a close 3 with Pegula. I know I'm right there. My game is back. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
We've talked litmus before, both on this show and wow, 2008. I was at the U.S. Open. You weren't there, but Sko was playing in the first round against Jarkko Nieminen, and we were like, Jarkko Nieminen is that top 50 litmus. Like you just if you're going to be a top 50 player, you have to beat him. And there are other players like that, like the kind of you hit a level like Karen Khachanov is like you want to be a top 20 player, you got to beat Karen Khachanov. And I guess maybe even on the men's side, Tsitsipas is probably like your top 10, your gateway person. Jessica Pegula.
I would say Tommy Paul's a better gateway.
Tommy Paul, okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Paul or De Minaur. But to your point, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
But the women's side, because we get there's so much fluidity on the women's side. Kind of, there always has been that there is very rarely someone who's long enough and at a level that's consistent enough to say that this is the torchbearer for this level. And Jessica Pegula has become the torchbearer for, let's say, top five tennis. Like, you want to be in top five, you got to figure out Jessica Pegula, because it's not straightforward. Well, it's straightforward in theory, but then the ability to actually do what it takes, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time within the course of a match. Like, you think you're not going to be able to blow through her, right? But if you, and I saw this in the match against Ayala, it's like you could see the tactics kind of coming into play. Like, and it's one of those, like, okay, Alex is trying to get that lefty forehand out wide to Jess's backhand, and she's at some point she starts to miss wide, and also starts to pull line early, because the thing that Jess was doing was what she does so well. She punishes everything in the middle of the court. You let Jessica Pegula get the ball in the middle of the court, she's gonna pong you around like Andre Agassi. Like, it's like you're in her trap. So you're trying to play maybe a little outside of yourself, which is harder and harder to do. You get deeper in the match, let's get tired. And the air started to come. It's like, oh, that's it right there. It's gonna
I
take a
also
little while
thought
to
she
get
did
to
a
it, but it's there.
and sorry to control. I thought she did a great job just in that match with Yala of not allowing her to get the inside out the ball that she wanted. She took her cross. She's like, girlfriend, you know what? We will go my backhand to your forehand all day. I'm going to prove you want that down the line. You want that down the line forehand. You had it in the first set, but just as soon as I get you, I'm going to take my backhand down the line, and then we're going to match the backhands if we have to. She threw in a few slices. She threw in some other shots, and she took away Ayala's ability to hit the big down the line ball once she realized, oh, okay, I got you. So you like that ball. She just continued to she made that second and third tweak of her game that I felt that was the difference. And that's why I say she's a litmus test. Alvin, you're not going to play one way and blow through Jessica Pegula. You're going to have to play two or three styles, B game, different style. She has good enough serve to hold. She has great returns. You know she's not as fast as some. You know she's not as tall and big as others. But buddy, she does not miss
She
balls.
won't panic either.
She won't
She won't
panic,
panic.
and Alvin, and she will not give it to you. You will have to take it from her. Unfortunately for today, Aryna took it from her today. That second set was just an absolute give me that. But her first set, Alvin, she went down 2-0. And it looked like she was almost a little leery, almost a little down. She came back and won 3 games in the first set, Alvin. Like, you almost thought she was going to take that first set.
Right.
Lost it first, lost 7-5. There were several trades of breaks. Arena's got a big serve. You don't just break Aryna for nothing. And they went back and forth on break 2 or 3 times. It just was unfortunate at the end. I really feel like Aryna got a little she gets hit stride a little more. If you saw the match, there was a certain side to play on. But the wind was so gusty today that where the wind was was the headwind, so to speak, was right in front of you. It was just so hard to hit deep. And Aryna figured out, if I can just tag it as big as I can, and she did.
No problem.
Right, no problem there. Just actually missed long a few times trying to tag that ball back with the wind to her back. That was actually kind of, it's almost like she played better wind tennis. Again, Aryna plays in this Florida wind. She knows how to play it. So I felt that was actually what cost Jess more than anything else. Everything else is pretty good. Just a couple of breaks that got her. But again, first set was great. Second set was good tennis too. You just realize she hit a stride, as Arena's been very typical to do recently. She's starting to get what I call the vice grip. Like Novak, she's just starting to know, okay, now I got you. Now let's take it up 2 more notches. That boa constrictor effect where you're like, move a little more and I'll squeeze a little tighter. And that's where she's just starting to dial it in, man. And she's just not gonna let you go.
It's weird, like, she hits the ball so hard, but and I don't know if you had the chance to see her, in person, but I've, like, weirdly seen her a lot in person, especially in practices. Both at the U.S. Open, kind of before the tournament started one year, I was walking around during qualies, and she was out practicing, and I was like, footwork impeccable. One, two, as big as she hits that ball, it's safe. Like, it's so heavy, and when you watch it on TV, you can't pick up on it. But when she's smacking that thing, the RPM she's actually getting on it, it's like, oh, that's bankable. Her forehand's, it's safer than Jesse's forehand, which is like weird to say, but it's
100%.
that thing is dropping with conviction. So
And she's 6 foot tall, bro. I mean,
yeah,
she is a
yeah.
tall woman. I mean, she absolutely bringing it. Again, I feel like she did a great job on her side of the draw. I actually thought this. You're gonna help me with the name. Ken Win, I thought was a very good match with her. I thought Zhang played a solid match. It was a good second set effort as well. Again, I feel like Aryna's starting to match up against these players better. She's handling the challenge better. Um, I just because I think the two matches mattered, and we know that Zhang had a bit of an early upset in Australia, right? She's still all day top 10 in the world. I mean, or 5, 6, whatever she is in the world now. Had a good match against and playing some good tennis, by the way. I just felt like there was a point in the Paolini match where I think we all kind of figured 6 foot 5'4". This is going to be this match. I think Jasmine might be 5'2". I'm gonna go out on a limb and say she's maybe 5'2", maybe 5'3" with shoes on, and Aryna might be 6, pushing 6'1". There was a point in the match, Alvin, and I've watched Aryna play quite a bit over the years. There were times when Aryna would struggle to be the expected favorite.
Mm-hmm.
She would get down when a player would make good shots. She would get a little upset if she felt the match slipping away. I saw Aryna Sabalenka smile a couple of times on Jasmine's great shots, her great gets, almost as if, and it wasn't the mercy. Okay, I'll give you that. It was a wow, that's a good
Good
shot.
for good for you. Huh, that's nice.
It was a level of maturity of saying, wow, I hit that ball exactly where I needed to give you the worst possible shot, and you pulled that off.
Yeah.
Like smiled, racket tap, like
Novak does that sometimes too. Like he just go, good shot, man, man.
right,
Good
right.
shot.
And what I like about it is, especially for the perfectionists that they are, and how as good as they are, it lets them off the hook emotionally to say, you know what, I could do it any better. That's a heck of a shot. They're not burdened by the win, the result. I gotta do. She has come into her own, Alvin, and she is playing such good tennis, and her mind is there. She treasured the win against Jasmine Paolini. She knows 8, 9, 9.5 times out of 10 she should beat Jasmine Paolini. She enjoyed every bit of it. It was not, I'll look at past this match. Jasmine's not really a match for me. I'm almost a foot taller. I had bigger. I'm finishing. No, 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 no. She was like, you know what? I played well. Jasmine's always tough to play. It was this kind of almost a revelation of she's just another player in the tournament, even though she knows she's the number one player in the world. And that's Aryna's mental maturity of coming of age, where she's not her record, she's not her stat, she's her.
Well,
And a
she's
lot of players have struggled with that. I think Carlos is struggling with that currently. You have to separate the two. She's having fun out there, Alvin. She's smiling. She's enjoying the battle. I wrote in my notes as well, Alvin. The best players in the world enjoy the process of beating you more than they enjoy the win. They enjoy winning more than they enjoy the win. The win's great. Yeah, okay, I won. And had to lose. But I enjoy beating you. I enjoy besting you. I enjoy matching up and changing it up, making the adjustments. That's what drives them. And when you get her to that level and she's number one in the world, oh, she's going to be tough to beat for
well,
the.
she's on the precipice of something which I don't think gets enough attention right now. Like she started when you look at the list of like the things someone has to do to become great, right, in our sport. It's all tennis related stuff. Right? When get to number one, weeks at number one, Grand Slams won, so on and so forth, and she's done all that stuff, right? I think she's hitting that point now where she is trying to become an icon in sport. And I think just kind of the region of the world where she's from, she doesn't get a lot of attention. I feel like if she were from, let's say, not even say Spain, let's say she was from a Western European country, or if she was from the United States, like
Germany,
she
for
would be a
example, or whatever.
really, really big deal. She has this personality that
She
lets you
does.
in. She
Yeah,
smiles. She's
yeah.
fun. Like she's cool, and the brand of tennis she plays is attractive, and she has all the stuff of being, and like she's very comfortable being number one. Where like you talk about like someone like Iga, who likes being the best but doesn't seem comfortable being number one. Like I am the
Doesn't seem as
one.
comfortable and doesn't seem as comfortable, I'm gonna
Like
say, in
competing
that
for it.
process. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't isn't as comfortable in the process of winning. Likes to win perhaps a bit more than the process of winning. And there's a lot of players like that out there. There's a lot of players that fall in that category that are, and perhaps that's why she's struggling right now. She's trying a bit too hard and not playing within herself, trying to outdo what you do. And don't get me wrong, it takes a fiery competitor. But I think there's also a point where uh, I saw Hinga struggle with this, and she finally kind of hit her stride. I saw Sellis struggle with this a little bit. A lot of the top players that Capriati we know struggle with it, right? And had these issues with just trying to, kind of dealing with how good she was, especially at a young age. It's very difficult to play that level of tennis. Let's face it, Sabalenka struggled with this early on, right, in her career. So I think I really feel like what's enjoyable for me to watch her is to watch her coming of age and really watch her enjoy winning and taking it all in stride. She's in the moment, Alvin. She's right there. She's dialed in. She's not chasing the results. She's chasing her best tennis and trying to be the best she can be. And the
Yeah, that's a
results
beautiful
come.
thing. Chasing your own best tennis is a beautiful
The,
place to be.